Okay, yesterday was Democracy Day. Yesterday was also International Child Labor Day, but Democracy Day seemed to have overshadowed that yesterday. But then that's also very important. It's the issue of child labor is as important as entrenchment of democracy. We have in the studio with us this morning a child protection expert, Olakunle Sonny. He's also National Secretary, Child Protection Network Nigeria, founder, School in the Street, and the founder of Childhood Advancement. He's coming here. He's here this morning to talk about child labor situation in Nigeria. Yesterday was the day. Good morning, Mr. Sonny.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for having me here.
Okay, so maybe we should start.
Yeah.
With getting people are familiar with what child labor is
exactly.
about.
Okay, so that's to start with. Child labor is any activity, whether paid or not unpaid. I mean, any work that's given to the child. It could be paid work, it could be an unpaid work. That means the kind of work in the family, but which hinders the development of the child, which affects the education of the child, which affects the well-being of that child, which may put the safety of that child at risk, which may affect the survival of that child. So it could be any work. So it could, that means the child could be supporting some domestic work in the home. But as long as those domestic work affects the development of that child or it affects the survival of that child, then it is termed as child labor. However, we understand that there's something we also call child work. And so child work is just a small, there's a thin line between the child. The child work is that kind of domestic work, like, okay, you ask the child to clean the house, wash the plates, and do certain things. But in the course of, for example, you give a 5-year-old child, or let's say a 10-year-old child, like a heap of clothes to wash, and then it becomes, at that point, normally nobody will fault if you have given that child just one cloth, 2 clothes to wash. At least you are training the child. But if you give that child a heap of clothes to wash, then it becomes child labor. But if you just give that child just 1 cloth or 2 clothes to wash, then that is child work.
I'm beginning to look at what I experienced growing up as a child.
Exactly.
That it subjected me a lot of child labor.
Exactly.
But then you look at the experiences of most of us. These are different contexts. We talk it's universal to celebrate this day. You see the experience of most of us while we're growing up. Yeah. We really don't see that as something terrible, because our parents, we have to support them. They go to the market, we support them, we help, we do all sorts of things for them. So I don't know where we draw the line now.
So that's why we are clearing it, because no one has said that the child should not support his parents in doing some certain work, whether in the home or is supporting the family income in a way. But once it affects, if the child has to go and hawk, you understand, while the child is working, the child is exposed to, especially these days, the child is exposed to kidnapping, is exposed to abduction, is exposed to being hit by a vehicle. I mean, it has happened severally. It's exposed to, even learning some things in the environment, which are also, which you will not want to expose your child to. This kind of things that go on in the environment where the child is passing by, we walk around the place where there are guys smoking, taking a kind of, the child is exposed to that. The child is also exposed, like for example, the girl child may be exposed to, being sexually harassed, So a lot of risks are involved, and these are always there. But we only look at the, benefits in terms of what the child is helping to bring income into the, and even at that level too, the child should never be the one that should take responsibility for bringing income or making money for the family. That means when you get to that level, then it's becoming a child-headed household. And that is not what we want. We want the child to be supported, to grow up, to be nurtured, so that by the time the child grows to a certain age, then the child will now be the one to now, at that time the child will have become an adult who will now be responsible for the upkeep of the parents. By that time, so the child should not be made to go and hawk.
You are the National Secretary of Child Protection Network Nigeria. Yeah. Now, how bad is this situation in Nigeria? How bad?
Very terrible. So terrible, because of what she has just said. Because we have seen over the years, we have seen it as something. It has become a norm that even if in some family they believe that if you don't hawk or you don't, then it seems like you don't want to support the
will
family.
threaten you. You will eat for that.
So there is, or maybe in the rural areas, if you don't follow your parents to the farm, they become something. Well, you know, because like that is why I said I talked about the child work, because there is a level at which you can engage these children. But if it's becoming, I mean, getting the child to the farm and then after you have, they can be seen, okay, how these things are done, so that by the time they get to adulthood, they can also, I mean, it will not be looking strange to them. But now, after you have gotten all the farm produce and then you now ask the child to carry the hip up, or maybe the child is even the one doing the real work, I mean, using the cutlass, using the hoe to, I mean, to get all these things. And then at the end of the day, because in the course of using that, that could harm the child. The child could cut, I mean, it could get injured as a result of that. I mean, a lot of things, but because it has become a norm, so almost everywhere, it's not just in the Southwest, it's not just in the North, it's everywhere. It's everywhere that we believe that children has to, I mean, people believe that children has to do a level of work. And these work are usually hazardous and dangerous to their
What's your network actually doing to actually bring this down considerably? Are you interfacing with government? Because I also understand that there is the child rights law in some states of the federation. How pervasive is that?
So yes, there's the Child Rights Act, which is the federal level, and about 28 or 29 states already domesticated that child rights, including Ogun State. In fact, Ogun State is one of the earliest states that domesticated it. And so that is one major hindrance. But even at that, the attitude is trying to change. You know, for example, the thing for this year is looking at providing social protection so as to end child labor. And that means that, I mean, government, I mean, we're trying to work with government and to encourage government to begin to provide social protection policies like the cash transfer that started, like the school feeding. Because many of the people who engage their children in child labor often give poverty as a major reason. And so, and I mean, the school feeding is going to help a lot if that is sustained. The cash transfer is going to help a lot. But despite that, we've also found out that if care is not, that's why it has to be this social protection has to come with policies too. Because we've also found out that even at times when families are supported, particularly in the rural areas too, when they are supported like that, I mean, they are given some funds to really be able to, I mean, it not get to that point where, I mean, at that point too, many families now engage their children more in labor because now they now have more money to expand their farm. So at that point, they now want to engage their children in that farming activities because now they have more resources to, I mean, to practice their farming. So that's why it has to.
You don't think it is the challenge is because this thing is cultural. Your child has to be a help. You know, has to be a helper for you. You know, culturally. I grew up with that word, you know.
and look at the generations of, you know, getting married to many women and then having children so they could support in the farm and all of that. Like you said, it's cultural.
Exactly,
Cultural, yeah.
So that's why we need to change the narrative. We need to, I mean, change the idea.
So apart from advocacy, okay, what other?
What we're doing more is to sensitize people. Okay, recently, in fact, just about no more than this issue. Maybe about a month ago, on a Sunday, I was just standing, I mean, around the Elite Road, and I think around 6 in the evening, I just saw a child, like very little. The child could not be more than 9 years old, carrying, hawking pepper. I stopped that one. By the time within 15 minutes, I was able to accosted about 4 children, almost the same age.
At what time?
So what
around
did you
6
do?
in the evening.
6 p.m.
Yes.
What did they tell you?
Yeah, that they were just, some of them are still working, some of them are getting set to return to their home, and they've been home from morning. One even came from around Ashero. I can imagine, at Elite Road. Ashero. One came from around Ashero. I mean, so one was from Adaton area, one was from, in fact, none of them was living on that road. Okay, there was one, actually, on that road, Elite, but he was living at the extreme because I met almost at the Derba Junction. So, you know, after I accosted them and I stopped them, so what I did is to insist on their parents. I mean, so we got their parents to come there.
Okay, you stopped them and you tried to call their parents.
Yes, I got their parents to come there. I mean, so those are the things that we need to. And when they all came, I told them the reasons why. And then we took the pictures of the children and the parents too, and we made it mandatory for them to go to the Ministry of Women Affairs the next the next day. It was a Sunday, so they had to go the next morning, and I gave them that they have to be there by 10 a.m. And they went there, and so the ministry did certain, apart from the council, gave them warning. I mean, there's something like a yellow card that, okay, so your pictures are here. So if you ever get to see this child again, okay.
Is this also, what do you call this? I think this is child labor too far, because I've also encountered some children who will come to you and they will say, please, daddy, buy from me. Exactly. Otherwise, I will not eat.
Exactly.
So otherwise, I will not eat at home.
Yeah.
You know, so which means that it's a condition for them to sell. Yeah. Given by their parents.
And you know, the unfortunate incident is that when you follow those children home, I mean, I follow some children, and then the moment you get home, you see their parents crossing their legs, enjoying their time. Some of them were even preparing to go to a party, you know, and you could sit back at home and allow your children out there in this age and time.
So another level of this is there are some that don't even hawk anything. They just come to you, they beg, they tell you. I don't know if that is still within the
yes, it's also part of it. It's also part of the law that the child should never be used for begging, because it's also a form of child labor. Some people engage children to go, and then after then you have they finish engaging the children, then the children become used to that, and even so without you sending them to go and beg, they become a natural beggar. So you can imagine what kind of child, what that person would grow up to be in adulthood. He will not really want to believe in hard work. You have to.
Also, as we're closing, Mr. Sonny, any specific thing that you guys are doing or you did for this year's celebration?
Yes, a lot of program advocacy, but the Ogun State, there's a state steering committee on child labor headed by the Federal Ministry of Labor, and so they are having this week. They'll be having, in conjunction with NUJ, we'll be having a press conference where they will also be addressing the public on issues of child labor. That is coming up on the 15th. And across the federation too, there has been sensitization in communities, particularly endemic communities where child labor is too particular. I know well in Ondo, in Niger, in some states too, where people are really using children in the mining sector. You know, because that is really, really, really happening. You know.
Heavy work.
That's serious. We must thank you so much for coming. However short is the time that we've spent on this, I think it's still very important that we discuss this topic. Child labor, International Child Labor Day yesterday, Democracy Day in Nigeria yesterday, and so you can understand why we didn't actually get to hear much about that. But for us here, you know, it's our style in OgunTV because it's the people's telly, and our mandate is you know, around the people, and of course, especially the young ones. That's why we have to discuss this issue this morning. Mr. Olakunle Sonny, child protection expert, thank you so much for your time on this program, and I will hope this phenomenon will begin to come down in the country as time goes on. That's the program this morning. Simiat and I will be back on when?
Okay, I think they're on holidays. They're enjoying us from home.
Yes.
Enjoy your holiday.
Thank you so much for watching us. Bye for now.